So our project is the feeding behaviors of cattle, and the group members were Destiny, Lauren, Keith, and Laramie.
So the common feeding patterns, we did limited and timed feeding, and we learned that they tend to be more aggressive. So they would push each other out of the way in order to get to the feed. So they had a defensive behavior. They were swinging their heads to get others out of the way, and they consumed quicker versus the cattle on full feed, and they attempted to find every last crumb.
So, as Destiny said on the last slide, these heifers were on limited feed, so they tended to be a little bit more aggressive. And as you can see throughout this whole video, they're eating a little bit faster, and every once in a while they'll, push up in between each other and swing their heads, trying to get each other out of the way. Um, and then in this next video, you can see how there's a couple of heifers attempting to get every last little crumb out. And once again, that's because they're on limited feed, so they don't have a full feed supply throughout the entire day.
So full feed, they tend to be a lot less aggressive when eating, and they wait to be fed. They eat a lot slower compared to the other heifers. So we observe the bulls, the bull test, who are fed the full amount in the morning, and they eat a lot slower and are a lot more calm, and they don't eat it all at once.
So as you can see in this video, the bulls are a little bit more calm. They weren't really pushing each other out of the way or anything. And as you notice, this one on the far right side, I mean, he's not even at the feed pan because they're well aware that they'll have enough feed to last them throughout most of the day. And they're eating a lot slower than the heifers were in the previous videos.
So some similarities between full and limited feeding. In both scenarios, they seek water after eating, and they typically travel in bunches when approaching and departing from the feed bunk. They also have the same feeding time every day, so they will know exactly when it's time for them.
So these next videos were kind of recorded to demonstrate proper and effective handling. In this case, we used feedlot calves, but as you can see, the two handlers kind of walked out at an angle instead of going straight towards the calves. And, they don't get super riled up or anything. And when they walk out towards this angle, they're able to calmly walk them up towards the gate where they want them to go. And the calves aren't super flighty or anything like that. And as you see, they're traveling in their little group and they go right to the gate where they're supposed to go. In this next video, though, in the next video, this is some improper and less effective handling. And you'll see in this video that the two handlers tend to run directly towards them and they kind of get a little flighty and rile them up. And then in this part, you see that they run the complete opposite way and bunch up in the wrong corner that you want them in. And then, like I said, they're a little bit flighty and they actually don't even go to the right gate. And they're just all running around, and it's kind of chaotic in this situation.
So an animal welfare concern with feedlot cattle is transportation. It causes stress and diseases that can lead to high levels of shrinkage. As low as 35% of calves get the nutrients needed to restore body weight upon the arrival to the feedlot. Shrink leads to other health problems, which can be hard to monitor in a feedlot setting. And their total body weight can take 3 weeks to restore in high stress calves. Some preventative actions you can take to avoid this is your equipment and facilities should meet all the local standards. You want to limit the amount of time cattle are being transported. Upon arrival, cattle should also be monitored for their health conditions. They should receive fresh hay, feed, and water. This helps to identify calves in need of closer examination.
So another concern that can be noted in feedlot cattle is that a lot of diseases are brought in, and this can be caused by stress from transportation or being weaned too soon. It can also be caused from improper care before being shipped and the body mass loss due to the stress and being shipped and stuff like that. So preventative actions for this would be making sure that the calves are getting their vaccines before they get to the feedlot, the ones that they need before they get to the feedlot. And another system called preconditioning, which would be things like teaching the calves to eat in pens, increasing their days before weaning, and just kind of like getting them used to what a feedlot setting would be so they're not as stressed once they get there. And once the cattle do get to a feedlot, they should immediately be observed, weighed, and examined in order to keep track of, who might be sick, who needs extra care, things like that. So that was the end of our presentation. Thank you guys for listening.